what to do. What else do we want in our life? To have the guidance of a great teacher. People are thinking, guru? I don't need guru. What do I need guru for? And my feeling is that how wonderful to have a teacher, a guider, someone to guide our lives. How wonderful that is. Huh?
Yes.
We have to figure.
We're very blessed.
Uh, uh,
Blessed.
uh,
To this day, I don't understand how this has come to me. This mercy.
yes, yes.
I don't understand it.
So many people are wandering in their own way, this way and that way. And they don't really know what they're doing, and I don't know how they can stumble through their life. But for me, to have the opportunity to have someone of such realized nature to guide us with wisdom and love, that seems the most perfect thing that can happen in your life. Guru. Uh, why make life so complicated? Oh. And people are fighting who is like in this party, who is in that party, whether it be politics or religion or whatever. No necessity for all of that. But
Yeah.
people are ambitious in this world. Huh? They have so many desires they want to fulfill. Even they come to spiritual life or whatever. Uh, it's very fortunate not to have all of that. Just to have the desire to satisfy, please, Guru. Simple persons have that mentality, I think. Huh?
Yes.
Simple heart. Simple living, high thinking, though. But not that we should be simple in our thinking. We should think, what is that highest thing that we can think about? And that is God. Oh, Krishna. Highest thing. And that is not a worldly concern. The worldly concerns are very trivial. The concern about God, that is very high. But at the same time, we are very simple in heart. With faith, understanding that we're not the controller. We're not. We come here to this world, everything is given to us, and we think we are in control of it all. Foolish.
Yeah.
Huh?
So many people, this whole COVID-19 thing
Uh,
has shown that things can just change
huh.
in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Your whole life.
Yes, right. Right. People have put security in so many different things, but there is no security there. Mhm. Our only security is with the Lord, at the Lord's lotus feet, and the lotus feet of Gurudev. And you're all very fortunate to have understood that in your own lives. It's so beautiful. Mhm. Simple devotees, we love to be in their company. They have no complicated thinking ain't going on in them. They're not, what do you call, duplicitous and motivated and this, that, the other thing. So many things you have to meet with the materialistic persons. You never know what they're thinking behind them. Are they going to try to con me or steal something from me? Try to make some bad bargain?
Yeah. I was wondering, since I I just mentioned that there's so much division going on in our mind. There's so much boundary that's left. How can we harmonize?
Sometimes I try, I've tried to talk to people, devotees, about that, express my heart, and always tell the we should follow. If we are actually honoring Govinda Maharaj, many of them say they are honoring Govinda Maharaj and Srila Maharaj. I said if we are actually honoring Govinda Maharaj, then we'll follow his instructions, his command. Otherwise, how we could say we're honoring him? Uh, and that's the maxim. That is what I say. That is the final thing that I tell them. I don't try to argue with them so much because I know that will only create further problems. So I say that, and if they listen to that, if they can follow that, then okay. And then that's the maximum I think we can do for them. If they don't want to follow that, then you know, I remember Sridhara Maharaj once told. He said, "You have your plan, and Krishna has his. uh, you have your plan, and Krishna has his. So you do what you planned. Ye yatamam prapadyante, tams tataiva bhajamyam." You know that verse from the Bhagavad Gita? What does Krishna say? As they surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. Uh, so runs Sridhar Maharaj interpreted that. If you want to be cheated, Krishna will cheat you. Huh? Huh? So if you want him, Krishna will give you himself. If you want to be cheated and get something, look for something else, Krishna will give you that. What to do? Everyone has that freedom to decide. So the sincere soul wants Krishna, no doubt. That's their only desire. And maybe they think they're finding that in some other way. I don't know. But our opinion of others, our judgment of others, that's not very useful. We have to focus upon ourselves. What is my position? How am I going to make progress? Right? In Krishna consciousness. We get too caught up in others' business, and then we become distracted like them. So don't become distracted by other people's business, what they're doing. They're doing according to their heart, and we are acting according to our heart. What our heart is telling us, what Krishna within our heart is saying. And thankfully, we're very fortunate if we can uh, just follow Mahanta Guru. Mahanta Guru means the external Guru, and that means that we also have some internal Guru who is directing us. Yes, you go in this way. You follow this Guru this way. Both Chaita Guru inside and Mahanta Guru outside. If these two are in harmony, then we are very, very fortunate. Fortunate. Very sincere. This is how I judge sincerity. Sincerity. And then Sridhar Maharaj always would teach, if you are sincere, nothing can disturb you. Nothing can harm you. Sincerity means that. To me, it means that Chaita Guru and Mahanta Guru are in agreement. Hare Krishna. Jai Lochan Prabhu ki jai. Dhanyavad. You were asking some question. I didn't get a chance to answer you on WhatsApp. Huh? I know. I heard. You don't have to read it. I just wanted to say something about that though. the in my book, that book, Idols of the Mind. I don't know if you read that, but there is I talk about mathematics, first of all. Mathematics and science. Mathematics is not the language of nature. I make that point. Some Eugene Wigner, scientist, Eugene Wigner, uh, quantum scientist. He also was questioning that mathematics and that mathematics is so effective in science. It says it's not very usual, very unusual that many mathematics can be applied. And I was thinking about that. How can mathematics apply to nature? And one thing struck me that in mathematics, 1 plus 1 equals 2, no? Everybody knows that, huh? 1 plus 1 equals 2. But where do you find in nature two things that are the same? 1 and 1 is the same in mathematics, no? 1 is the same as 1. So then you can say 1 and 1 is 2. But where in nature do you have two identical things? You can't say in nature, you can't say 1 apple and 1 apple is 2 apples. They are not, right? 1 apple may weigh this much and X ounces, and the other apple may weigh X point Y ounces. You know what I'm saying? One may 2 ounces, one may be 2.1 ounce or something, or 0.9 ounce, whatever. Where do you get 2 apples that are the same? We say if you have 2 apples, it means 2, 1 and 1, 2. But real apples, they don't have that kind of relationship that you find in mathematics. Mathematics says 1 and 1 is 2, but 2 apples are not 2 apples. They come to more than or less than 2 if you have a standard of apple. You understand what I'm saying? Leibniz also pointed out that there are no two things in nature that are the same. Then you can't apply mathematics. Mathematics says 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, all ones. That means they're all the same. 1 is the same as 1 is the same as 1, right? No matter how many ones you have, they're all exactly identical. And in that way, you can add them up. But you can't do that in nature. We say 1 apple and 1 apple is 2 apples. But that gives a different definition of apple is required in that case. It doesn't apply to the actual apple that you have in your basket. It's some kind of abstract idea of apple that you're saying. Apple, this apple, that apple, that apple. You're applying the same word to so many different objects. And then you're saying you're adding them up according to that idea, not according to the real apples. Is it clear? When you call a 2-ounce apple an apple, and you call a 3-ounce apple an apple, and you combine them together, you get 2 apples, no? But really, you're getting 5 ounces of apple. See? Understand? The two that you're talking about are 2 abstract apples. They're not the real apples. Every tree is a tree. You call it a tree. One tree may be an oak, another may be a cherry tree, or another might be an elm tree. But you call them all trees. And if you say there are 3 trees in my backyard, yeah, it's true. But that's not a very good explanation of what's there in the yard, because they're different trees. But mathematics doesn't account for that. It only accounts for the idea, the abstract idea of truth. And yeah, I described that in that book. And I showed how Galileo he had a certain understanding of reality based upon his metaphysics, his ontology. And that we don't observe that. We don't think that way nowadays, the way he was thinking about primary, secondary qualities, all these things. And artificially, he made some distinction between quantitative and qualitative properties. Artificially. We have to read and study the history of how these ideas came, of mathematics applied to science. It's very inconsistent and unworthy of proper thinking. So first of all, I disagree very strongly with this idea that mathematics is the language of science. Yeah, science in a very abstract sense, but not science in a concrete and a real sense. That is not real science. Science is the science that we have today is an idol of the mind, and not much to do with the reality that we have to deal with. The first thing. Second thing, it was necessary to learn Sanskrit in order to understand what the value, what the universe within us is all about. But to some degree, that's true, no doubt. Sanskrit is a very beautiful language, and many things are expressed there that we don't even have words for or ideas for. And no doubt that who could study Sanskrit, they can learn many things. But that is not the language of the universe within us. The real language of the universe within us comes from the realized soul. One word from a realized soul. There you can understand the wealth that is within yourself. One word from the realized soul. Many great Sanskrit scholars, they don't know what the heck the Vedas are about, really. They're all impersonalists, rascals. They may be very learned in Sanskrit, but you cannot learn anything of the absolute truth from them. But that is not the language. Real language is coming from a self-realized soul. Krishna tells that in the Bhagavad Gita. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprastena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninais tattva darshana. The tattva darshana, one who can experience the truth directly within themselves, who's living in that world. They can tell us what that world is all about. The expanse, the infinity, and the beauty, the sweetness, the charm of that world can only be delivered to us through their words, through their words, and through their grace. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasada. By the grace of the Guru, we could get the grace of Krishna. All these things are given in the scriptures, not that the Sanskrit has some primary significance like that on its own. So although I encourage you, yes, if you like to study, Sanskrit is very nice, and it can be very important also, can give you much insight. But that does not replace the importance of Gurudev, self-realized soul, from whom we learn everything. Even the Sanskrit will mean something to us through Gurudev, whereas if you're studying on your own, that Sanskrit can mislead you in many devious ways. Can take you away into the mental world, intellectual world, and away from the heart world. So that wealth that is within your heart, that has to be found. That can only be found from Gurudev, proper Gurudev. Okay. Jai Hare Krishna. Kanupriya Devi, Hari Bol. None. It's okay. No, it's. And do you know Parama Bhakti from Holland? Parama Bhakti is. Do you know Kanupriya Parama Bhakti? She's in London, UK. Huh. She's in. She's in.
the Netherlands.
She's in Netherlands. Okay, Netherlands. They don't call it Holland. They don't call it Holland now. That's an old term.
And Holland is a particular part of the country.
Okay, I see.
Everybody always says Holland.
All right.
No, I don't know why I say that.
Okay. Kanupriya. Yes. All right. Do you actually wear wooden shoes there? Okay. Sounds very difficult. All right. So, all right. Now let's have. Shall we have a kirtan?
Kirtan guide is shared.
Huh?
We have the Kirtan guide shared on the attachment section.
I see. Okay. Who does not have the kirtan guide? Pocket kirtan guide?
Side of the screen.
Parma Bhakti Devi. If you don't have it, you can find it on the left side of the screen. The pocket kirtan guide. And we sing from that. Later on, we'll be singing from there. If you like to download it, but if you don't have it already, you can find it there. I'm going to play the Madhava. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Devo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev. Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Dev, Srila Acharya Deva Ki Jai. Jai Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Jai Navadip Dham Vrindavan Dham Jagannath Puri Dham Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki Jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Jai Bhaktivedanta Institute, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai. Jai Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. And Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glory to the worldwide devotees. Ho Premanandi Hariya Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Jai Shanta Maharaj, Rasaraj Prabhu, and all Prabhus, Laucha Prabhu, and Parma Bhakti, Kanapriya Devi, all Prabhus, Ki Jai. All right, so now, yes?
I have got one nice verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita about what you told to Lochan Prabhu. Can I share it here, Maharaj?
Okay, yes. Please, Maharaj.
Allow me to post all at a time.
Okay. What is it? I don't use.
Say that may Chatur Devi, Amabhakta Sapaja Priya, Tasmei Deyam Kathodayam, Sacha Ujya Jathai Aham. Says that it is said by Lord Krishna that even though a person is a very learned scholar of Sanskrit Vedic literatures, he is not accepted as my devotee unless he is pure in devotional service. Even though a person is born in a family of dog eaters, he is very dear to me if he is a pure devotee who has no motive to enjoy fruity activity or mental speculation. Indeed, all respect should be given to him, and whatever he offers should be accepted. So the devotees are as worshipable as I am.
Yes, very nice. Where's from? From where?
From Hari Bhakti Vilas, Sanatan Goswami.
Rivo. Yes, very good. Very good. Very nice.
Also published in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yes, yes. Also, I was thinking of that pastime of Mahaprabhu when he came to that one devotee. He was sitting on the side of the road and holding the Bhagavad Gita upside down, and tears are coming from his eye. Tears are coming from his eyes, and he's holding the Bhagavad Gita upside down. Then Mahaprabhu inquired, well, why? What's this going on here? You're all crying. You're not even holding the Gita proper side up. Oh, that devotee said, I am following my Guru's instruction. He told me to read Bhagavad Gita daily, but I don't know how to read. Then Mahaprabhu said, then what are you crying for? No. Then he said, I'm thinking, that Krishna is the supreme Godhead, yet he's coming and serving as the charioteer of Arjuna, his devotee. What kind of Lord can be so merciful as that? How can imagine? Then I'm thinking of this, and my tears are flowing constantly like this. And Mahaprabhu said, oh, I do not know any great learned devotees who are as sincere and genuine as you. Huh? You are the real devotee. Like that. Not. Okay. Yes. So Mahaprabhu is given that example. Krishnadas Kaviraj has explained this in his Chaitanya Charitamrita. Give some idea to us. What is the real thing? Not learning who can develop that mood of love, genuine realization. Here is the most learned person, huh? Who has surpassed learning. Learning is not the highest thing. Devotion is higher than that. Genuine devotion, not sentiment. Who has actually penetrated to that plane. Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj, for giving that. All right. So now, any other comments about that? It's a very nice topic, actually. Then, let's see.
Maharaj,
Yes.
I have a question. Like genuine devotion without sentiment, right? So
Uh,
devotion also has sentiment, right? Sentiment is bad.
uh, sentiment, not bad. If you have the right sentiment, if you have the sentiment for the right person, for a genuine devotee, then it's not bad. Some people have sentiment for so many things, then it's not good. Not good. If we have some sentiment for the right person, for the right things, then it's okay. That is pure. But if we have sentiment for other things, then it's not good. So ultimately, it can't be just sentiment. Understand? Even if we have sentiment for the right devotee, the pure devotee, then it's very good. But that's not just sentiment. There, one must have some background in their previous life to come to that position. That's called sukriti. To have this sentiment for the pure devotee, that is a very unusual kind of sentiment. That one has that immediately when they come. But we have to be careful because I know there are so many people who have sentiment for this one and that one. And that is very bad because those persons are not pure devotees. Uh, they may look like some type of devotee or they whatever. They may have some power, some influence over other people, ability to influence, but they're not giving the right thing.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
I don't know. Sentiment means senses and mind. To me, the word sentiment means senses and mind. Sentiment, huh? Right? Senses and mind. No, that's not spiritual life. Hmm? That it can be, but it's not generally considered spiritual life. Beyond the senses, beyond the mind, that is spiritual life. Hmm? What is beyond? What is transcendental to the senses and mind? Huh?
I mean, Maharaj, we can be sentiment towards Krishna or Guru, right? That's what
Yes, yes,
then
yes.
we can be sentiment.
Definitely, that helps. That will help attach us because otherwise our sentiments will go to something else. So if we can direct them to Guru and Krishna, devotees, then there's a good thing. Then our life can become properly adjusted. But ultimately, we have to have that higher realization also. Okay. I don't really want to remain only on the sense and mental plane. It has to go higher. And those things are not ordinary. Spiritual life is not an ordinary thing. Not an ordinary, like an ordinary life of an ordinary person. Mhm. Something like, you know, persons who have culture. What do you want to say? Culture. Um, they may look like ordinary persons in the street. Person of culture, of learning, and so forth. They may look like ordinary persons, but they have a different sense, have a different sense of things and of life. Not just ordinary kind of animal like existence. And it's very hard to tell who is a devotee. Uh, Even then, sometimes devotees may also appear in a very ordinary way.
Srila Govinda Maharaj also explained about the difference between emotion and devotion.
Yes,
Those sentiments, they are materialistic are emotions. Connected to Krishna or the Vaishnavas, it's devotion.
mm,
Different. So emotion connected to Krishna will become devotion. You want to say, Maharaj?
yes, it may already be. And the thing is, yes, we wonder. I guess the main point in this thing is to say, what is your motive? This we have to look at. What is the pure motive? What is the pure heart? Sometimes we may feel emotional sentiment, interest in spiritual life. What is the difference between that and the pure devotee? Okay, here's how we can tell. What is the difference between the person who has some emotional commitment and someone who is of actually devoted soul? And I think that will be found in their what they do with the rest of with their life. Uh, who is engaged in materialistic activities and has some in, emotional attachment, they won't be able to give their life fully. Hmm? They won't be able to give their life fully. Like I remember one person who used to come to our center, and he was always, that person was always showing some emotion about Krishna and so forth and so on. Then one day uh, he didn't come. That person did not come, and we asked what happened. Where did you go? That you didn't come that time. Oh, I had to go play bingo. you know. Uh, so then I'm thinking, all right, you know, it's showing a lot of emotion, but then they're also interested in playing bingo when the time for Sangha comes. Uh, then is this a pure heart or what? How do we interpret their feelings? Understand? At some point, they may seem like a very sincere, but then so many other things are there in their hearts. And I don't know. I mean, I don't like to judge other people that they are pure or not pure, whatever. Their lives are their relationship with Krishna is their relationship, not mine to interpret. But I feel like that if someone only has an emotional relationship and has no real understanding of things, then uh, I I consider that some kind of sentiment.
Maharaj, would you say that sentiment has an element of self-indulgence to it?
Definitely. Some separate interests. When someone has their own separate interests and not full dedication. Govind Maharaj used to say that also. No, that everyone has some 20%, 50% devotee, 70%, 90%. You can say everyone has a certain percentage of devotion. So maybe something like that. I mean, like someone like Rupa Goswami or the gopis. We can't compare them. A person who has some sentiment, we can't compare them to those great exemplars of devotion. Prahlad Maharaj and so forth. When we think of their lives, we don't think of sentiment. They're extraordinary, extraordinary devotees. Uh, uh, Gopis want to give their lives millions of times. They're ready to sacrifice their lives millions of times to just wipe the drop of perspiration from the feet of Radha and Krishna. Ready to give their life millions of times, just like mother will run into the street when the cars are coming to save the child. She's ready to give her life to save her child. That's dedication. We don't call that sentiment, right? We don't even think of the word sentiment in that case. So, sentiment and dedication. We just have to think of the great exemplars, great examples of the great devotees to understand what is dedication. The Goswamis and so forth. Yes, Maharaj.
In South India, as you were telling about when Sadhu Thakur used to go, then you used to find, so many renowned, so-called devotees in that area
Yes.
who used to always cry, on the name of Krishna and Ram,
Uh,
those things. And when Sadhu Thakur used to ask them, under whom your devotion is going to Krishna, they would say, nobody, we are directly connected. Then Sadhu Thakur rejected them, even not as devotees. So it seems to be, without devotee, the kind of relation we have with Krishna can be only mere sentiment.
uh, yes, it must be real. In other words, to actually have a living guru who we serve, that is a real thing. Hmm? Real. Yeah.
I have read somewhere Krishna is so merciful, even a person does not take Krishna name properly, he will show his like mercy.
Yes, yes.
So their devotion will not be wasted, even though they don't have a guru, but they have a feeling for Krishna.
Yes.
So in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna said, in the practice, in the spiritual practice, nothing is wasted. Whatever you done, it will be added to the eternal benefit.
Yes. I agree. That is true also. Well, then I don't know exactly how to say better. I don't know what to say more than what I've said because it's a little difficult problem. Like I said, one can have the sentiment, but not the realization, the proper conception. Huh? This is the thing. Somehow, the proper conception must be there also. Of course, many don't have the proper conception, like you said, but they are somehow sincere in their effort, and Krishna appreciates that. He doesn't discard person because they're not perfect. Mm. He tells in the Gita very clearly, Ye yatamam prapadyante, tam sataiva bhajam. As you surrender to me, I reward you. So depending on your sincerity, Krishna will reward. It all depends on the sincerity of the person. If you want to come to him 50%, he'll accept that gladly. If you want to come to him 25% in your life, no problem. He'll accept that. 99%, no problem. 100%, very nice, but So he is not rejecting anyone. He's encouraging whatever you can do, and then do that much. It's very nice. That will benefit you to that degree. But some we're all like that. We have some degree of attachment to something non-Krishna, something mundane. So that is our purification, to get free from those attachments. Uh, and we do that in a gradual way. Rupa Goswami has given us. Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishta, Ruchi, all those stages we have to achieve. Try to cleanse our hearts. I remember Srila Prabhupada used to say, don't criticize the devotees. They are taking a shower. You are showering, you're cleansing yourself. Some dirt may be there. But why you are saying there's some dirt there? No. You're in the shower. It takes some time to get off the dirt. You see? So as you are engaged in service, yes, there's some dirt there. But we want to cleanse that more and more. And our heart become free from all of that and become real pure servitors without any mundane attachment. Or karma gyan yoga. No influence of these things. Karma means fruit of activity, gyan, mental speculation, and yoga, seeking some type of perfection. Now I want to get free from all that and just to be a humble servant. To whatever degree we can do that, that is our process. And not an immediate thing you do, an immediate result you get. Maybe, but not generally. So we're all in that intermediary stage, I think. I am, at least. So we have to go gradually and pray that Krishna will give us that help. He carries what we have and provides what we lack. He'll help us if we are but sincere. All right. Does that help? Hare Krishna. All right. Page 38 now on the Kirtan guide. All right, Vandanam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parishana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vasakanvitam Sa Om Aganati Mirandasya Yananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Puja Shri Guru Varga Vandita Mahabhavavan Vajtaya Sada Purva Parya Parampara Prachalita Pragya Pamurta Krite Bhaktir Nirmala Nirjarhasya Nivritam Samrakshakam Sadaram Vande Shri Guru Devam Ananta Shira Acharya Varamnijam Gorvabhista Sapurakam Guru Ganar Shakshishya Sambhusitam Chintya chintya samasta veda nipunam Sri Rupa Patananugam Govindabdidam Ujvalam Varatanum Bhaktyanvitam Sundaram Vande Vishwakarun Chadivya Bhagavat Premno Hibija Pradam Devam Divyatanam Suchandavaranam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadekavaranam Tagya Vidya Buddhim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Varam Vande Tam Subhadam Madeka Sharanam Nashishwaram Sridharam Sri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Gaudiya Gaurvanvaye Bhatto Banuvira Prabhata Gagane Yogoda Sankirtanai Mayavada Timingalo Daragatan Uditya Jivani Mam Krishna Prema Sudabdikana Sukham Pradat Prabhum Tam Bhajet Namo Gorkishwaraya Bhaktavaduta Mortai Gorangri Padma Bringaya Radhavava Nishevane Vande Bhakti Vinodam Sri Gora Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shashragya Samrajam Radharasa Sudhanidim Gora Vrajashita Sheshar Vaishnavaya Vanya Vigraham Jagannatha Pabam Vande Premabdim Shreda Vaishnavam Vanshakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Panchatatvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Namo Mahavaranaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Goratvise Namaha Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Manda Matergati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radhamadana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Ratnagara Singasanasto Sri Gandharva Srila Govinda Devo Praise the Levi Savior Manus Marami Sriman Rasa Rasaramvi Vangsi Vata Tata Stita Karshadvenu Swanayar Gopir Gopinatha Shri Sunam Vrindayai Tulosi Devai Priyayai Kesavasya Krishna Bhakti Prati Devi Satyavachai Namo Namah Attanatva Mantra Gurun Bhagavatarthadan Vyasan Jagad Gurun Natva Tato Jayam Udirayat Jai Saparika Shri Shri Guru Garanga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Pada Padmanam Jayastu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Srila Prabhupada Srila Guru Maharaj Srila Gurudev Srila Acharya Dev Ki Jai Jai Go Premanandi Hare Hare. All right, page 16. Oma Devi. Hare Krishna. Nanda Vatsoma Devi. Do you know Yasomati Nanda, how to sing it?
I will try Maharaj.
Okay.
Yasomati Nandana Rajavarana Gokula
Yasomati Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana.
Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damana Vipavana
Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damona Vidana.
Amala Harina Kaliya Vilasa Vikana Purandara Navinagaravara Vanshivadana Suvasa
Omala Harina Mamaya Vilasa Vipina Purandara Navina Nagaravara Vangsivadana Suvasa.
Rajajana Palana Astura Kulana Sana Nanda Godana Rakivala
Vrajajana Palana Surakulana Sana Nanda Godana Rakovala.
Govinda Madhava Navanita Tasara Sundarananda Gopala
Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sundarananda Gopala.
Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasarasika Kupamaya
Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasarasika Kripa Moya.
Srila Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara Bhakti Vinoda Hasraya
Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara Pakati Vinodashraya. Jai. Thank you very much. Page 45. Huh? Page 45. And Rasaraj Prabhu. Samsara Dava Nanalita Loka Tranayakaya Naganatvam Praptasya Kaya Nagananavasya Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam. Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Vaditya Madhyan Manasora Sena Romanchakampa Shrutaranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanara Shri Vigrahara Dananityanana Sringaratan Mandira Marjanado Yuktasya Bhaktam Saniunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada Svadvana Triptan Hari Bhakta Sangam Kritvaiva Triptan Bhajato Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Shri Radhika Madhaviyorapara Madhurya Lila Gunarupanam Nam Pratikshana Svadanalolo Pasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Nikunjai Huno Radikeri Sirahe Yayali Bir Yuktira Pekshaniya Tatrati Daksha Dati Vallabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Sakshadari Tvena Samasta Sastra Uktastatha Bhavyateva Sadbhi Kintu Praboya Priyeva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado Yasya Prasada Nagati Kutopi Nayam Stuvam Stasyaya Sastri Sanyam Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Srimad Guru Rastakam Ruchar Brahme Muhurte Patati Prayatnat. Yastena Vrindavana Nata Sakshat Sevai Vallabhya Janu Sonta Eva. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Hare Krishna. That's one of those mentioned in this verse. Yasya Prasadat, Bhagavat Prasado, Yasya Prasadat, Nagati Kutopi. Today, in a couple of days, Srila Sridhara Maharaj, a disappearance day, we're going to honor. And I wanted to point this out about Gurudev and what question that Lochan Prabhu asked. Now here it is explained. And I remember Srila Prabhupada pointed this out very clearly also. One time, he was saying the secret to spiritual advancement, the key to spiritual advancement is said and found if one can please his spiritual master. One can please the spiritual master. That is the key, the secret to getting some spiritual advancement, spiritual progress. Now, nobody ever talks like this. You want to go learn something, you go to school, you'll learn, or study very carefully, you'll learn all these things, and you can make progress by your application of your effort. But that's ordinary knowledge. This is called transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge. That's a different type of knowledge. Mysterious, very mysterious. Well, for some people, it's very mysterious. And what the higher knowledge that is attained is the knowledge of the heart. Knowledge of the heart. Not of the brain, not of the senses, of the heart. And higher knowledge. The higher knowledge means the higher relishing of that higher taste. What is there? The highest platform, highest recesses of the heart, you could say. And that comes from this heart-to-heart connection with the messenger of the divine, that is Guru, who is especially sent to this world, who is especially appears to this world by the mercy of Krishna, to bring the souls to him. That is actual Guru, not an ordinary person. And despite all ordinary appearances, there is something transcendental, and he is trying to give that to us. Krishna is trying to give that to us through Guru, because you can't get to that highest thing by any attempt. The highest thing cannot get it reached by any attempt. The infinite, how do you reach for that? We're finite. Not possible. But infinite has a way to come here, and that's called Guru. Not an ordinary person. It's Krishna's attempt to come to us. That's called Guru. So who can find such a person, and who can please such a person? That is Krishna's connection. That's how we make a connection to that higher plane. Who can reach that? They're completely liberated from all material world, all material conception of life. So yasya prasado bhagavat prasad, by the grace huh, of Krishna, and by the grace of Guru, one can get the grace of Krishna. And by the grace of Krishna, one can get the grace of Guru. Uh, Not ordinary thing. This kind of knowledge is not ordinary. Definitely not ordinary. So who can explain? I can't. How that is Krishna's arrangement, and not my anyone's ability to explain that. This is what Krishna gives in the scriptures, explains in the scriptures. Transcendental transmission. Transcendental transmission. I remember Govinda Maharaj was preaching in South America one time, and he told the people there, he said, I don't know your language, Spanish, He said, I don't know, or Portuguese or whatever it was. I don't know your language. You don't know my language. And yet somehow we're communicating. Somehow we're communicating. By heart, we're communicating. You're understanding me and I am understanding you. So language doesn't mean anything. Another level of communication is there. I want to try to get that. Huh? Okay. Now, page 65. Okay, Shanta Maharaj, page 65, if you'd like to sing. You're very happy.
You are happy, then I am happy.
All right.
Nitai pada kamala, koti chandra susitala.
Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Sushitala
Nichaya jagat juda.
Echayaya Jagata Juda Aye
Hello Nitai Vine Bhai, Radha Krishna Paite.
Hena Nitai Vinay Radha Krishna Paidenai
Dridha kori dhara Nitai.
Indra Kori Dharani Taye Pa
Se sambandha nahi jai, britha janma gaya.
Se Sambandha Nahiya Vritta Janma Kele Tara
Dei pasu pada durachara.
Se Pashu Bada Durachara
Nitai na bolila mukhe, modila samsarga sukhi.
Nitai na Baliya Mukhe Majila Samsara Sukhe
Vidya kule ki koi betara.
Vidya kule ki karibe sara.
Ahankari Mataya Nitai Pada Kasuriya
Ahankara matoina nitai para pasariya.
Asatire Satya Kori Mani
Asatera satya korimani.
Nitai Rakurnabe Raje Radha Sutabe
Nitaye karunohobe Raja Radha Krishna Pabe.
Dharanitai Charanodukari
Ndaranitai charanadukani.
Nitai Rajarna Satya Kahara Seva
Nitaye charana satya Tanhara sevaka nitya.
Nitai Pada Sadakaro Asa
Nitai pada sadakara sa.
Narottama Bharadukhi Nitai More Sarasukhi
Narotama baraduki Nitai mora karasuki.
Raghuranga Charanira Asa
Rakaranga charanera pasa.
Narottama Bharadukhi Nitai More Karasukhi Raghuranga Charanira Asa
Rakaranga charanera pasa.
Dayal Nitai Dayal Nitai Dayal Nitai Dayal
Dayanitai, 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 Dayanitai.
Dayal Nitai Dayal Nitai
Dayanitai, 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 Dayanitai. Libo, Zana Devi. Would you like to read the translation of that song? Yes, you. Yes, we can hear you.
Moving like 10 million moves, I will speak through the world with various shapes. Oh, brother, without reply, you cannot reach Radha Krishna. Follow me, God, Nitai speak. The love of Radha has no connection with Nitai, has his way. Such an animal is very wicked. People learning aristocratic bird, you follow who was the most important players and never called aloud Nika. Hasn't put many Nika's feet. I accept our truth as truth. When Nika restores his mercy, we will reach Radha Krishna in Raja. Ask Nika's feet. Nika's feet are true, and his servants are eternal. Always aspire for Nika's feet. Your Radha is very sad. Oh, Nika, make me happy. Keep me beside your very feet. I teach now a little girl in her school. I always like when I speak with her, this was like my
All right.
Srila Acharya likes Nitai very much.
Then page 58. 58. Then Ganapriya Devi. Do you know this one?
Not yet for us. I just did a long chapter at the very end.
Okay, just sing it up to the part you know, if you like. Hey Vaishnava Thakora Dayara Sagara Eda Se Karuna Kori. Diya Pada Chaya Shorahe Amaya Tomara Charana Dori. Chaya Vegadami Chaya Dosha Shodi Chaya Guna Dehadase. Chaya Satsanga Dehaya Amare Basachi Sangerase. Ekaki Amar Nahi Pai Bolo Harinama Sankirtane. Tumi Kripakari Shradabindu Diya Deha Krishna Namedane. Krishna se tomar Krishna dite para tomarasha katiachi. Amita Kangala Krishna Krishna Bali Dayatava Pache Pache. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jai Gurudev Ki Jai, and Ajay Prabhu. Can you read the English?
Sure, Maharaj.
Thank you, Prabhu.
O worshipful Vaishnava, ocean of grace, be merciful to the servant. Give me the shade of your feet and purify me. I clasp your feet. Cultivate the six virtues, rectify the six defects, and bestow the six good qualities upon this servant. Grant me the six kinds of good association. I have sat at your feet, desiring that association. Alone, I do not have the ability to properly chant the Lord's name. Mercifully give me a drop of faith and bestow upon me the wealth of Krishna's name. Krishna is yours. You can give Krishna. You have the power. I am very poor. Calling Krishna, Krishna, I run after you.
I love that. Love that part, huh? That's you can stop there. The other part just repeats. Then uh, Ekaki Amar Nahi Pai Bolo. Also very memorable line of Bhakti Vinod Thakur's Ekaki Amar Nahi Pai. Means Ekaki means alone. I alone, Amar, I alone cannot have the power, Bala, the strength. I don't have the strength. What? For Harinam Sankirtan. Uh, I don't have the power to chant on my own. I don't have any inspiration to chant the holy name. Only in the association of the devotees. Then I get some inspiration. Then I feel enthused and I want to chant. I want to further my progress in spiritual life. So that Sangha, Sankirtan. Sun is not just Kirtan, he says Sankirtan. Huh? Mahaprabhu taught this Sankirtan Yoga. He didn't teach Kirtan Yoga. He said Sankirtan Yoga. San means Sangha. And the chanting with the others. This gives me the inspiration to go on. Huh? It gives us the inspiration. And it's by this Sankirtan Yoga, just like every day, every time we meet, is for encouraging one another. Huh? I am also encouraged. You are maybe encouraged, hopefully. And this way we practice our devotional activities, inspiring and continuing on in our spiritual lives. This Harinam Sankirtan. Ekaki Amar Nahi Pai Bol. I don't have any great spiritual strength on my own. Only with the company of the others who are also practicing. Then I feel quite encouraged and enthused. Haribol. All right, now, what do we have left here? Let's see. Uh, oh, Lochan Prabhu. Let's see, what is this? Page 105. We have one special song for you to sing. Would you like to do that one? Okay. Page 105.
Are we ready?
Go ahead, whenever you're ready. Amar Jivana Sada Papirata Nahika Punyaralesha Parera Udvega Diachi Ekata Diachi Jivera Klesha Nija Sukha Lagi Pape Nahidari Daya Hina Swarta Para Para Sukhe Duki Sada Mitya Basi Para Duka Sukha Kara Osesha Kamana Didi Mahimora Krodi Damba Parayana Madamata Sada Vishaye Mohita Ingsa Garva Vibhushana Nidalasya hata sukarye virata arke udogiyami. Pratista lagiya sacha charana lobahata sadakami. Ehin dojana sajana vajita aparadi nirantara. Subhakarya sunya saranartanana nana duke jara jara. Vardake kana upaya vihina tate dina kinchana. Bhakata vinoda prabhura charane kara dukadi vedana. Amar jivana sada papirata nahika punyaralesha. Parera udvega diachi ekata diachi jivera klesha. Jaya. Vaishnav, what are you saying?
Vaishnava Thakur.
Yeah, Vaishnav Thakur.
Jaya Vaishnava Thakur.
No?
Yes, very good.
Vaishnav Thakur?
Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur. All right. Then what do we have now? Oh, now Krishna Kesava, page, what is that page?
165.
Page 165, huh? Page 165. We'll let Krishna Kesava Prabhu, you can sing. Huh?
Which page?
Page 165. 165. Okay. You want to? Go. You need this? You can do it on yours?
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Hari Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopala Govindaram Sri Madhusudan. Girihari Gopinath Madana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Echaya Goshani Kari Charana Vandan Yaha Hoite Vigna Nasa Abhishta Puran Echaya Goshani Yara Muitara Das Tansabara Para Renu Mora Panchagras Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas Janame Mora E Abilas Echaya Goshani Yabe Vraje Kailavas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Karila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pare Majhiya Mana Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Padmakari As Hari Nama Sankirtana Kahe Narottama Das Hari Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo. Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev. Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev. Nitai Gaura Pramanandi Hari Haribo. Jai Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Namalacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Dandavats.
So then, let's see, the 20th of this month, July 20th, the disappearance of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Bhakti Rakshadadev Goswami Maharaj. And I just wanted to say some few words about Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Well, you know that those who are new, oh, who is this Sridhar Maharaj? Everyone, most people have heard of Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, who is he? And he is the god brother of Srila Prabhupada. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. His god brother is Sridhar Maharaj. That means they have the same guru. God brother means Sridhar Maharaj and Prabhupada had the same guru. That guru's name was Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. That is the guru of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And they were both knew each other also during the time of Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada. They knew each other. And I remember once Prabhupada told they were sitting in Vrindavan and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada was, Saraswati was giving a talk. And at that time, all his disciples, they wanted to go and see the holy places in Vrindavan. They were very eager to see the places that were so honored and respected by the Vaishnavas, where Krishna's pastimes occurred. And they all thought by going to these holy places, they could get very good auspiciousness in their lives. And so they were very eager to take the dust of those holy places. Then uh, Saraswati Thakur was giving some talk at the time of the parikram, at the time they were to go to these different holy places where they could become purified and inspired and so forth. Anyhow, they wanted to go, but Sridhar Maharaj and Prabhupada, they thought, no, Saraswati Thakur is speaking. We want to stay back and hear what he has to say. Other devotees, they wanted to go on that parika very badly. But they thought, no, we'd like to stay here. We want to sit here and hear from Saraswati Thakur. Whatever benefit we can get from the holy places, that benefit cannot compare to the benefit coming from the lips of the great Vaishnava teacher, their great acharya, their wonderful transcendental guru. That words are more relishable and more significant than even visiting the holy places. That's how they felt. So they sat and they wanted to hear. Their eagerness was to hear. To hear. Just like we were saying before with Lochan Prabhu, the learning the Sanskrit and doing all kinds of pilgrimage and so many things. That will not reveal that inner wealth of the spiritual realm as so much as one word or some words from the self-realized soul. That will be the real language of revelation of those things. So they felt like that. Their highest benefit will come from hearing the words from Bhakti Siddhanta's Saraswati Thakur. Prabhupada told us that. And he said, he was always emphasizing this point. He said, the point of your progress is to come from hearing. Shravanam. He told us he was always eager to hear. He was always eager to hear from his spiritual master. He said, this is my qualification. I had what qualification I had, he used to tell us. I have no qualification. I am rascal fool number one. But my eagerness to hear was there. So I think this must be my only qualification, he told us. I wanted to hear very much from what Saraswati Thakur was saying. If I have any qualification, this is it. Then, somehow or other, that relationship between Sridhar Maharaj and Prabhupada was there, and our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami. They had that kind of relation. They were both interested in hearing very carefully. And Srila Maharaj also had their, what do you want to call it, reputation, or he was known to be a very good hearer of Saraswati Thakur. And whenever Saraswati Thakur would speak, and he would speak at a very high level. If you read some of his literature, you'll see. He would speak in a very high way, very exalted way, with very exalted language. And many of the devotees, they were very simple. They were learned also. But to understand what Saraswati Thakur was saying was very difficult for many of them. Anyhow, because of that, they would come and ask Sridhar Maharaj, what did he say? What was the meaning? Because Sridhar Maharaj would be able to hear very, very acutely, very carefully, and understand somehow what Saraswati was saying. And he would explain to the others, and they'd be very happy, satisfied to know, oh, this is what he was saying. The point was given by very nicely by Sridhar Maharaj. And like that. So Prabhupada also could understand Sri Swami Maharaj, he could also understand that Sridhar Maharaj was very good in this understanding what Saraswati Thakur was saying. So he was also always very anxious to hear what Sridhar Maharaj had to say. He was also wanting to learn from him. And that he called Sridhar Maharaj his Siksha Guru. Siksha Guru. Huh? Because although he took initiation from Saraswati Thakur, and he was always attending whatever lectures, he didn't attend so many lectures from Saraswati Thakur, because at that time he was also Grihastha and doing business, but he wanted to, at the different times, have association of Saraswati Thakur. But anyhow, afterwards, when he became more involved, he would go many times to Sridhar Maharaj to learn what was the philosophy and so forth. Any questions? So he considered him his Siksha Guru. Then they were living together sometime in Calcutta also. When Prabhupada had a business, he had an extra room, and he let Sridhar Maharaj establish his preaching center there in that room. And so he'd have, and it was also a good opportunity for him to do service, and also a good opportunity for him to hear from Sridhar Maharaj. And Govinda Maharaj was there at that time, and they all lived together in a very happy way, and hearing from one another. Govinda Maharaj also felt, he asked Sridhar Maharaj, and Sridhar Maharaj told him, learn Bhagavad Gita from Swami Maharaj. You can learn Bhagavad Gita. And so he used to learn Bhagavad Gita from Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada used to learn from Sridhar Maharaj. And that way they had a very nice, beautiful relationship of Sangha. Then, after Prabhupada left his physical form behind, we went to Sridhar Maharaj also. And a couple of years afterwards, in Mayapur, I talked to actually Bhakti Charu Maharaj. I met Bhakti Charu Maharaj, who recently passed away. Very nice, sweet devotee. And I was talking with him in Mayapur during the Mayapur festival. Every year we would go to Mayapur for a big festival at Gaur Purnima. GBC would meet, and so many things would happen. Big things would happen at that time. Anyhow, I met talking intimately with Bhakti Churu Maharaj. And I told Maharaj, since Prabhupada has left, I don't feel the same. I don't feel the same inspiration. I don't feel the same spirit. And then he told me, "Oh, you come with me. I want you to meet Sridhar Maharaj." He told me just like that. Oh, I didn't know too much about that, but I said, "Okay, I'll come." Then I went with him across the river, and met him for the first, met Sridhar Maharaj the first time. It was very amazing meeting the first time. The Sridhar Maharaj was so different, and externally, so different from Prabhupada in that he was sitting on some table, wooden table. When I came, he seemed sitting on some wooden platform and on some building. And I asked him, and I saw him sitting there, a Bengali gentleman, and a very simple cloth, no top on, just a bottom, the dhoti, just wearing dhoti, and his Brahmin thread on top. And I thought, and he was speaking in Bengali. And I was sitting there and watching him. He was speaking to some devotees in Bengali. And somehow I thought, such a simple Vaishnava. such a simple soul. And he was speaking, and I was trying to catch how I can catch what he is saying, even though it was Bengali. I didn't know any Bengali. I was trying to catch what he was trying to say to these people. And every once in a while, he would, in the middle of his Bengali, he would say some English phrase, like "What is what?" He would say "What is what?" in English. And another time, he would say "the central point." In the middle of his Bengali, he would give some uh, English statement like that. What is what? Central point. And then at the end, he would say, uh, uh, what is that? Krishna Nitirasa. Huh? No, Sridhara said at the end, he'd say, what is that? Jivera Swarupo Krishna Nitirasa. At the end, he said that, and I understood what that meant. Anyhow, I came back from that lecture, and I'm thinking, at one point he said, "What is what?" And then another point he said, "Central point." And then at the end he said, "Jivera Swarupo Krishna." Then I'm thinking, he was saying to those people, here we are in this world confused, and we don't know what is what. But the central point is, you are the eternal servant of Krishna. This you must understand. This is what I captured from his talk. You may not know what is what. And that is the nature of this world. And then what is the point? What is the central point? This you must understand. That you are the eternal servant of Krishna. And then all your confusion is finished. And that was my position at that particular time. Prabhupada had left, and I didn't know what to do. Like the carpet has been pulled from under my feet. So it was like I went to him, and he gave the perfect answer, perfect solution. That was one thing. So then I was very interested to hear more of what he had to say in English, because he also speaks in English sometimes. But then the other thing was that when after Sridhar Maharaj spoke, Govinda Maharaj was in the downstairs, and he would gather us together, all who had come, and he would give us some prasad, just like a loving father, very loving and affectionate. So he did not know us at all, and yet we came there and heard from his Guru Dev, and so he was very pleased, and he came and gave us all prasad. He knew our situation, that we were feeling great separation from Prabhupada, and he was also a very affectionate son. Prabhupada treated him like his son, his favorite son, he said. Prabhupada had his own family, but he considered Govinda Maharaj his favorite son. He had several sons of his own. Still, he considered Govinda Maharaj his favorite son. Govinda Maharaj was very sweet and always affectionate to everyone. And he was like that to us. So we felt that affection very much when he went there. And it made it very inviting for us. He made it very inviting for us to go there anytime. He said, "You come anytime. You always have a place here." And we felt very happy. Otherwise, Sridhar Maharaj was very aloof in a certain sense, because he's a very detached person and just giving this high philosophical talks. And Govinda Maharaj is embracing us. Come and hear and do whatever you like to get benefit from here. You can come. And in that way, we felt very happy to come back and to hear again from Sridhar Maharaj every day. and there was no problem. He would take care of everything. We didn't have to worry about food, about anything, where to sleep. He would arrange everything for us like that. So those are the earliest days. That was around 1980, that after Prabhupada's disappearance, a couple of years. And when I met first Srila Sridhar Maharaj, we could all understand his great insight and realization about Krishna consciousness. And we knew that Srila Prabhupada also said, I consider Sridhar Maharaj my Shiksha Guru. What to speak of the benefit you can get from hearing him. So we thought it was an appropriate thing to do that after Prabhupada's disappearance, to go there and hear what this great godbrother of Srila Prabhupada had to say. And we are very happy. We learned so much that we thought Prabhupada taught us everything, and then we realized Sridhar Maharaj also had wonderful vision. And he used to tell us that you can have one more than one guru. It's like if you are looking through one eye, you can see so many things. But if you're looking with two eyes, then you can see three dimension. A new dimension opens when you see through two eyes. So one eye you can see, but two eyes see slightly different. So although Guru may be slightly different, they're still seeing the same thing, but in different dimensions. They offer different dimensions, and that helps us in our vision to understand things more clearly. When you see things in three dimensions, it's better than seeing in only one. You can see more clearly. I like that he used to explain. And so, although ISKCON was telling us, no, you can't go outside of ISKCON, that's not good, we thought, oh, you know, well, it's not so bad. After all, there's something beneficial to that also. Uh, but anyhow, a long story, what happened to all, how some rivalry and so forth. So that things that we should not expect in spiritual life, they also arose. And anyhow, our intention is always to go on with our spiritual life as best we can, with sincerity and faith and trust that we will go in the right direction by Krishna's grace. Anyhow, I wanted to say a little something. Then Krishna Kesava told me he wants to read something also that I wrote concerning Sridhar Maharaj, and some words from Sridhar Maharaj himself were in that article. So at the end, we'll let him do that. And I wanted to also ask you if you have any thing you want to say about Sridhar Maharaj in remembrance of him. We'll appreciate hearing what you know, what your realizations are also. Huh? Would someone like to say?
I would like to ask you, what you please the most to Srila Maharaj?
What's this?
What you pleasing the most to Srila Maharaj?
What was pleasing to Sridhar Maharaj? Huh. He didn't like that we would um, criticize. Huh?
Problem.
Huh?
You cannot see the video.
What happened? What video? What's
Maharaj, your video stuck.
the video stopped?
Yeah, it's stuck. It's stuck.
Uh,
But we can hear your voice.
oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right.
now it's good.
Okay. So, I, yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Maharaj, you are on mute.
Is it okay now? You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, as course, I know Guru Maharaj liked to be, have intimate relationship with the devotees. They're very real, substantial connection. Mm. He wasn't into formalities so much. And I remember once one devotee came, I can't remember his name, but he came to see Sridhar Maharaj. And Sridhar Maharaj immediately embraced that devotee. I never saw that before, that Sridhar Maharaj embraced that devotee. And he told that devotee, "You have such a big heart, such a big heart." And he embraced him like that. Somehow he was emitting those rays of love, of affection. And he appreciated that so much. And other times I remember another devotee. He wasn't a very regular devotee. He didn't even wear dhoti or anything like that. And he was a big uh, engaged in some uh, business in Mumbai. And Sridhar Maharaj loved him very much. He would come and he'd feel so much joy and loved to speak with him, even though he wasn't full time living in the mutt. And told that I remember he told him that he was a disciple in a previous life, and he had come back to him. Things like this, I could see that even the most ordinary person, if they had a good heart, if they had a sweet heart, affectionate heart, he would feel very much attracted to them. And that was more important to him than anything. And that one thing, and Govinda Maharaj, of course, was of that nature also, very affectionate to everyone. And so Guru Maharaj was very pleased with that kind of affectionate heart, not um, puffed up, with so many different things, or thinking, learning, and this and that, or other things that wasn't so impressive to him. But the simple-hearted and loving devotees who had a real affection for him, he also felt that way toward them. And that was his chief thing. And rasa, the taste, the exchange of heart, the heartfelt exchange. And I know he didn't like when people were criticizing others. That he was very much emphasizing and try to be affectionate to everyone. He used to tell in ISKCON when there was so much inner fighting, he told them, be kind to one another. Try to be kind. Try to appreciate what it means to be kind. And he would always tell about the environment. Try to be affectionate to the environment. Environment is affectionate to you if you can see it in the right way, and not your enemy. And you are not the enemy to that. That there's sweetness coming from every direction if you have the capacity to detect that. And to find a fault in yourself and not in the environment. And I remember once some gundas, gundas are like rascals. What do you want? People who are up to no good. They came to the mutt. One day they came to the mutt and Govind Maharaj wanted to get rid of them, right? He would chastise them and throw them out. Then he went and Govind Maharaj was talking to him. And when he came down from that talk with Govind Maharaj, he became very friendly to those gundas. He was showing very sweet nature and holding them in his arms and walking them out the gate. and I realized at that point that Guru Maharaj must have told him, don't make your enemy your enemy. Try be friendly to your enemies and try it in a friendly way to deal with them. And like that, he changed his whole mood and was very friendly to them and taking them by their arms and by their shoulders and guiding them out the mud, out the gate. No, otherwise he wanted to beat them with a stick, I think, and chase them away. But Srila Maharaj convinced them, don't take that approach, because then they will get angry and only want to come back with more anger and do more harm. Something like that. So he was, Krishna Maharaj was teaching us in that way. He's affectionately dealing with everything.
Maharaj, what was Srila Maharaj's favorite prasadam?
Srila Maharaj's favorite, oh, well, Srila Maharaj could not eat very much. In fact, he was, he would regurgitate whatever he'd eat. He'd have to regurgitate that. Some kind of yogic power he had, that he would not eat, only take some food, then for some time digest that, and then he had to regurgitate that. So he couldn't eat very much, and because of his condition, they could not allow food to go down into the lower system, and so he had to eat only. They had to make some special prasad for him, in which they would mix everything together and crush it and make it like a soup, so that he could eat that. And even then, he would not be able to take that fully. Anyhow, that was his habit. But I understand that he did like this pakora. He liked that fried foods, although it wasn't beneficial for him. He liked to eat that. That I had learned from the devotees. And sometimes he would do it also. He would take that. They would offer to him. That's a.
I heard that he likes to take that milk. If you put some, like a culture in that, and it breaks. That chana, he used to take it with sugar mixing it.
Many things he did for, because he had special health, eating, dietary restrictions in his life. But otherwise, he used to love prasad, no doubt. Nice pakoras and so forth. So, what, anyone like to give their experience of Sridhar Maharaj? Did you know him, Kanupriya?
No, Maharaj.
Okay. Rasaraj Prabhu? No?
Only what I read in the books.
Okay. Uma Didi, did you know Sridhar Maharaj? Yeah. Did you meet Sridhar Maharaj? No. Okay. Santa Maharaj, what do you have any things to say?
I want to hear.
Anyhow, so yes, he was very sweet. Sridhar Maharaj was very sweetheart. That I remember him. And one time, something was happening in the mutt, and some disturbance among the devotees complaining about something or talking about. And Sridhar Maharaj was becoming very annoyed with them. And I was sitting with him, and he was becoming, when they were coming and he was saying, do this and do that. I don't know, in Bengali they were saying something. But I could see he was very agitated with them and trying to calm the situation down or solve the situation. And I remember he was always telling us the environment is always sweet. so so I looked up at Sridhar Maharaj and I told, Maharaj, is everything okay? Are you okay? And then he looked at me with a big smile and very sweet smile and said, yes, yes, everything is very nice. Everything is okay. Uh, he was always like that. And so many things happened with this gone and everything, giving so many problems to him. And he was deeply affected by all of that. But somehow or other, he recognized it is the Lord's will that all these things happened. Just like when they rejected him, they didn't. He was so anxious to help them, but then they did not want anyone to go to him, and they rejected him. And he felt very bad that I am only out of my love for Swami Maharaj, he would say. I have tried to help them, his disciples, and they want to kick me out. They want to reject me. Uh, that was very difficult for him. But then somehow he thought, all right, it is Krishna's will, not my will, that has to be done. So despite his earnest desire to help, they would not allow. They would not accept that, not understand that. And I felt that was very harsh. And they had such a wonderful relationship, Prabhupada and Sridhar Maharaj. Actually, today I put one picture on my Facebook page and on the Institute page of Srila Prabhupada putting garland on Sridhar Maharaj when he was there. I think in Mayapur. I don't know where it was, maybe. Yes, I think it was in Mayapur. And he went there. Then Srila Prabhupada put a garland on Sridhar Maharaj. And Sridhar Maharaj is trying to touch the feet of Srila Prabhupada when he's putting the garland. And then later, Sridhar Maharaj also put the garland on Srila Prabhupada. They had so much respect and honor for one another. And yet the disciples, they could not see, many of the disciples, they could not uh, do that. They could not give that honor. So how is that following? How is that honoring our spiritual master? He has one attitude and we have another. He's such an important person. So if we are truly honoring our Gurudev, we won't do something that he would never do. Never do that. We'll have to see what he is saying, what he is doing, what he wants, and that is pleasing the spiritual master. That we will never act in a way that he would disapprove himself. I don't want to do that. So we have to try to see the mind, the mood of Gurudev, and act in such a way that we honor that always. We don't try to oppose that. And we can please. If we're doing our own thing, what we think is right, and in spite of what Gurudev said and what teaches and by example in words, then that is not very nice. We won't get any grace like that. We won't. And we can't expect that. And that is the proper way of pleasing Guru. seeing what his mood, his mentality, his desires are, and trying to accommodate that in our whole life, mold our life. Huh? Who said that? Mold your life in such a way that you are the servant of a Vaishnava in a perfect life. Mold your life in such a way that you identity, your ego, is that I am the servant of a Vaishnava. I'm the servant of a Vaishnava. That'll be perfect life. The fulfilling your function as a living entity. Highest fulfillment of your function as a living entity is to mold your life in such a way. Now your own whole identity is that I am the servant of a Vaishnava. Servant of a Vaishnava. Nothing else.
Maharaj,
Yes.
the actually many of the Srila Prabhupada's disciples,
Mhm.
Srila Thakur's disciples, they have done a lot of service that pleases Srila Saraswati Thakur, but the kind of compilation that Srila Sridhar Maharaj has on his own Gurudev, Srila Saraswati Thakur, and about his especially the way of worship to the absolute in the form of deity, the Arati song and like that, that we cannot find anywhere. And even Srila Sridhar Maharaj told that he was trying to compile something in glorification of Sri Rastura Thakur, because that was that will be pleasing most to Saraswati Thakur and give his attention.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Huh? So he could understand the mind of his spiritual master, the heart of his spiritual master, and instruct to do something in that line. That's all. Always trying to follow that line very carefully. And that's how that is the way a disciple should act in order to become a teacher, a disciplic disciplic succession. In other words, ours is a Rupanuga daughter carrying that current of Rupa Goswami down from age to age. So it has to be very carefully understood and then presented without molesting that, without changing that, that mood. That's the real principle of parampara. When that changes, then everything changes. Uh, So to capture that, what Gurudev is teaching from within the heart, and to present that in the same mood, the same idea, same conception, and that will be very most valuable thing, because that will preserve those teachings, original teachings, so that others can also learn that. We're not just interested in learning some formulas, some uh, slokas or whatever, not like that. Some rules or regulations. That inner heart has to be represented. And that would be very nice. And then the parampara can continue. And others can learn that, and they can in turn uh, present that on to further cultivate their own spiritual life in that mood. Anyhow, all right. Let's see. Oh, already 4 o'clock. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not keeping you all too much uh, from other things. I don't know if we have time to read that.
But dear Maharaj,
Huh?
that you are writing that you wanted to share
Uh,
Krishna Chaitanya.
yes. He can tell you. What is that writing?
If they look on the attachment on the left bottom side of the screen, the attachment is there.
He said on the left part of the screen there's some attachment
At the bottom.
at the bottom. And if you click that, you can find that article.
I could not find.
Click
You
zero
can send on the chat.
Bottom left.
The bottom,
Click zero attachments.
zero attachment.
Zero attachments. It says two on
You
my
can send on the chat window will be good. Maharaj, today there was a conference on Ramayana at IIT Kharagpur, and they did it on Google Talk.
It was good. I mean, it was nicely arranged, or
Yes, yes,
nicely organized.
yes.
Whatever, you find out what is the best way to do it, that everyone can participate without difficulty.
Also, Google Talk is very useful in the sense they don't have to create an account
Mm.
because most of the phone they have Google account,
Hmm.
so they can just simply join in.
Okay. But if they don't have, they have to make an account, right?
Generally, those who have the smartphone and things like that, automatically it comes, they ask for Google account.
Uh,
Most people have it actually.
all right. Did you send it?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Maharaj, I got it.
No, I sent. In that talk, in that paper, the devotees asked me to write something, and I gave this topic about how to measure what's the standard of human life. The standard for human life. How do you measure the standard? What is the standard for human life? What kind of standard is there? Just like you want to measure some distance, how do you know how long something is? There must be a standard that people accept. When you say 1 inch or 2 feet or 7 meters or something like that, everybody knows how much that is, right? Because there's some standard. 1 meter, how long is 1 meter? Everyone has the same standard to measure it, right? When you buy 1 quart of milk, huh? 1 liter of milk, how do you know somebody's giving you actual liter of milk when you go to the store? How do you know? Anyone can put a bottle and say this is 1 liter, right? But how do you know it's actually that much? Must be some standard. Now this is 1 liter. And then we can understand. All right. If there's no standard, anyone can say whatever they want and then cheat you. Huh? And then cheat you. So then human being, how do we know what is the standard of a human being? How do we measure? What is that? Anyone can say, yes, I'm a human being. You have a head and eyes and this and that and the other thing. I'm a human being. What is that standard? Oh, some human beings are not very nice, no? They want to cheat you. They're coming to cut your throat or something like that. Is that human being? Standard? So what's the standard? Now, how do we measure? How do people know how they should be? What are they going to measure against? how they should be, how they should live their life. What is the proper way of being human? So I discussed that problem. Then, what is the solution? And the solution is Vaishnava is the standard of human being. Pure devotee. This is the standard of human life. If we can find a Vaishnava, we will understand what it means to be a human being properly. Something like that. Anyhow, you can read that article about that. And then Sridhara gave some quote. What do you want to say?
It would be quick to read.
I don't know. I feel bad to let everyone stay further. Do you want to hear? If you have to go, then you can go. If you like to hear, then Krishna Kesava wants to read it. Okay? Go ahead.
Shall I use her mic?
Go ahead.
Dandavats. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. The Standard to Measure Human Life by Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj for Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat. Everything has its standard by which it is to be measured. If you want to measure space or distance, a standard unit of measure is required. But what is that standard, and by what unit can that standard be measured? Of course, the standard itself cannot be measured by any other unit, or that would become the standard. So the standard must be absolute. It cannot be measured by anything else. Rather, everything is measured by it. This is the nature of the absolute, God, the ideal against by which all reality is measured. It is in that existence, which is measured by that ideal, that reality is to be found. And where do we find such an existence? It cannot be found in any natural thing or ordinary person. It is only in the personality of the Vaishnava, whose life, movement, and being is measured by that standard. Such a Vaishnava is the standard by which all human life is to be measured. But modern society does not know this standard, and therefore there is so much fighting and bewilderment. They have standards for everything else, a standard for the dollar, a standard for measuring space, weight, time, etc. But where is the standard by which we are to measure human life? That is given by the Vaishnava. His behavior, his life, his characteristics, Vaishnavata, that is the standard for everyone. Once this is realized, then one must know where to look for such a standard bearer, a Vaishnava. By his/her standard, we can measure the quality of our own lives. We feel we have found such standard in the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada and Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj, who are in the line coming from Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, the founder Acharya of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat, better expresses his own qualifications than we could in this regard. And the following quote is from Srila Sridhar Maharaj. The nature of my expressions, of my presentation, that was appreciated by my Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and also mostly by all the scholars of our Mutt, because it is an ontological conception based on pure chit vilas. That is, whatever I see, I have in view, that it must cross the level of Brahmaloka, not of this world, but of the other world, chit vilas. That what the smallest thing that we mention here, every word, every syllable that I give out, it is from the plane of Vishuddha Sattva. That is the special characteristic of my sayings. So our so many stalwart acharyas, they appreciate my talks very much. They say it is ever new, not a stereotype thing. Whenever I give explanation to a particular shloka, every time some new thing is coming, not any time any mere repetition. Whatever I say must have some touch with the infinite. That is the peculiarity. So, to increase the faith, Shraddha, the basis always of that, so that the foundation, the faith, that will be more consolidated. In this way, I am not partial or inimical to any person, not an enemy to anyone. In a general way, not referring to any particular section, in a most generalized way, I deal with things. End quote. And what is the standard of the absolute person by which the person of the Vaishnava is measured? Here again, in the words of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, we find this most perfectly expressed. Begin quote. Only the full-fledged conception will be able to give full engagement of our inner tendency. It will provide the corresponding fare according to the need within us, our heart. All rasa, all forms of ecstatic enjoyment must be within him, the center. The creation is not a very important function, but the corresponding engagement with the natural thirst of every atom is the highest. He is the highest principle who can adjust everything in him, where all sorts of innate hankerings must be satisfied. That center should be perfect and the highest. Who will be able to give satisfaction to all sorts of subtle demands within our nature? All corresponding relationships in every variegated way, all aspirations, are accommodated there. That should be the prime cause. Reality is for itself. Everything is for him. It must have some utility in him. He is the all-accommodating, all-pervading, all-comprehensive, all-fulfilling center. This should be the qualification of the absolute standard. End quote. We invite you to inquire further, read further, associate further, and thus nourish your soul for the joyful goal of human life, a life of love with the Lord of the heart, through the search for Sri Krishna, reality the beautiful. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhus. My Dandavat Pranam. Jai Srila Srila Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Acharya Maharaj ki jai. Jai Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai.